You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live at 4 at midweek. Brady is back just in time for the big doings in Green Bay.
Hello. Yeah, you can't have sports without me, so here I am.
Welcome back.
Thank you. We have a big day coming up, and we have team coverage today ahead of the first pick tomorrow for the draft. Eric Franke and Jason Wilde are in Green Bay right now. Hey, guys, what will you be covering over the next couple of days?
We're gonna cover just a little bit of football, but we're gonna save some of that for our sports crew as well. Zach Hanley and Andrew Banster are also up here in Green Bay, but alongside our Channel 3000 Packers insider Jason Wilde, our coverage kicks off from Lambeau Field, and Jason tells me the war room is right in that building, so that's where Brian Gutekunst and the Packers Brain Trust have been putting together a plan. But really, the planning for this event has been, what, years? And when did they announce this anyway? A couple years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. I didn't think it was appropriate that you snuck in there when you got up here.
Yeah, I got all the info.
So you know who they're picking. But it feels like the calm before the storm. And we've been waiting for this storm to arrive for so long. There's been such anticipation around town. And it's strange because I thought it would be like lots and lots of people everywhere.
Right.
We're not quite there yet. That'll be tomorrow.
The fans are coming tomorrow, but there's a lot of workers putting the finishing touches on the area all around the Titletown district here in Lambeau Field. And the city is really captivated by it as well. You have children. Jason lives, for those of you who don't know, lives in the Green Bay area. He covers the Packers so extensively. Your kids got the day off of school the next couple of days, right?
They were pretty excited. They had a half day today. They're off tomorrow. They're off Friday because, again, we are expecting in our tiny little town here a throng of people. But this has this kind of this feeling of Christmas Eve, but like there are no presents yet. It's like like Santa and his elves are still working on everything back here, and then we'll have people here tomorrow.
Yeah, we expected maybe rain. We brought all our rain gear. It is an absolutely beautiful day. I don't know what it is. It's got to be 75 degrees. I don't even see a cloud in the sky here in Green Bay. So we're going to have more coverage coming your way a little bit later in this newscast, just a few minutes away, where Jason's going to break down some of the things to look for, some of the needs for the green and gold come draft day. Susan, Brady, back to you.
Looks like a beautiful day out there. We're all very excited.
Yeah, very exciting. Thanks, guys. We'll check back in just a little bit. Now let's get a check on the weather. It's Jacob today.
Jacob is outside. He is not in Green Bay.
Yeah, he's the lucky one out on the patio. Beautiful afternoon, Jacob.
Yeah, we're seeing very nice conditions right now, but we're not done with the rain quite yet. Now let's take a look at the NFL draft forecast for your Thursday tomorrow. Some light showers are possible, otherwise not too bad. Friday we'll see more consistent rainfall, and then will be very nice for Saturday. Temperatures a little bit cooler on Friday, but nice for Thursday and Saturday. Now right now we're seeing very nice temperatures here in southern Wisconsin. 70 in Madison, a lot of the area in the lower 70s, and on top of that we're seeing pretty dry conditions right now, but we're not going to be dry forever. As we take a look at future track, we are going to see some more showers and storms move back into the area a little bit later in the evening, and there is a chance that some of these storms could produce some severe weather, mainly in the form of some minor hail, but we could also see some strong winds within some of the thunderstorms as well. Now this is going to continue for a good portion of the overnight hours, but once we get to sunrise Thursday, still might see some lingering precipitation for northern counties, but a lot of the area will be dry at that point. So for this evening, will be very nice to start the evening. Later in the evening, though, we will start to see some of those showers and storms move into the area as temperatures remain in the 60s. And overnight lows are actually going to stay in the 50s, so it's not going to be too cool, but we are going to see a good amount of rain and then dry by sunrise. But we have more chances of rain in the forecast and an alert day. I'll have the details on that coming up a bit later.
Thank you, Jacob. Wisconsin Democrats want to pass a law that would remove some restrictions on abortions in the state. The Abortion Rights Act would remove the 1894 law that is subject to ongoing lawsuits, and that law is on hold. Abortions are currently legal in Wisconsin. The bill would also eliminate some abortion limits, like state-mandated booklets that Democrats say interfere with the patient's right to informed consent, ultrasound requirements, telehealth, and medication abortion restrictions, coverage restrictions, and the admitting privileges restriction, which requires only doctors with such privileges at a hospital within 30 miles to provide abortions.
Agriculture provides more than $100 million to Wisconsin's economy. In Rock County, it generates thousands of jobs and millions of dollars in revenue.
Our Elila Liberté shows us how Milton High School is working to show that impact to students.
Yeah, Milton High School is looking for its next addition, an animal science facility that would give students and community members a hands-on learning experience.
We wanted to think of ways that we could bring those animals closer to students and use them for learning opportunities for the high school, elementary, and the community.
Stacy Skemp is an agriculture teacher and FFA advisor at Milton High School. She knows how working directly with animals can benefit students in her department and beyond. So when the Milton FFA Alumni Association asked her how they could support her, she recommended this.
Bringing in a couple meat animals and working on raising them and doing the farm to table with the food service department. We thought about having some laying chickens and teaching the kids all those aspects, working with the special education department, egg collection.
So far, the FFA Alumni Association has put together a committee. They've also begun touring facilities and working with a local contractor to envision what the space will look like. Reporting in Milton, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. The cost has not yet been identified, but the FFA is planning on fundraising to support construction. The next step for the project will be getting city approval.
It was a history-making day as a new building to preserve our collective past broke ground today.
News 3 Now's Kyle Pozorski shares the excitement from downtown.
1, 2, 3.
Breaking ground on familiar ground. The Wisconsin Historical Society holding a ceremony Wednesday to move forward construction of a new history center on the grounds of the former State Historical Museum.
This moment is for you.
Christian Overland of the Historical Society marking the occasion by reminding folks what they intend to build here.
When people walk out the History Center doors after it's built, they'll do so with a new sense of who we are and who they are and where we've been and where we intend to go.
Once completed, the new building will rise 5 stories on the Capitol Square and feature more than 100,000 square feet of space for galleries, events, and learning.
Let's build history. Let's build Wisconsin's new History Center.
In downtown Madison, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thank you. The total cost of the new Wisconsin History Center is just over $160 million and is expected to be open in the fall of 2027.
Next on Live at 4, we check back in with Eric and Jason, who are up in Green Bay.
And our Michelle Renee Quinn breaks down the cost of a last-minute decision to go to the draft for the weekend. We'll be right back.
Well, we are back and continuing our team coverage of the NFL draft ahead of first pick.
Let's get back live to Eric Franke and Jason Wilde. That is a great-looking shot, guys, in Green Bay, just across the street from Lambeau Field.
Yeah, nice day, too, and they are giving us a better idea of what the Packers are looking for. Hey, guys.
That's right, Brady and Susan. Beautiful day just off the south end of Lambeau Field here. And, yeah, everybody talks about the needs. What do we need this year, Packer fans? And you think back to last year, how it ended. They lose to the eventual Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, but, not a surprise. The schedule was kind of in their favor at times. They, at times, look pretty good, but there are definitely some needs. Where do we begin?
Well, there are, and maybe Brian Gutekunst will disagree with me, so hopefully he's tuning in and I can give him a couple of insights into his own roster. But I think there's 4 basic areas where they need help. They need help on their defensive line. They would like to be able to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks with just those 4 down linemen. They weren't able to do that last season. Speaking of Philadelphia, they were great at that last year. That changes everything for a defensive coordinator. So that's one. Number 2 is wide receiver. We don't know what Christian Watson's future looks like. He's got an ACL tear. He's not going to be back till November. Other guys have not been as consistent as they'd like. So wide receiver 2. Cornerback is 3. Jair Alexander, still on our roster right now, is how Brian Gutekunst described him on Monday. He's not going to be on the roster for much longer. So they definitely have a need there. And then they always need offensive line.
Right.
And we saw what happened in Philadelphia when Elton Jenkins hurt his neck. That was a real problem for them in terms of their depth. So I would expect multiple offensive linemen as well during the course of these 3 days.
It felt like a lot of times last year Josh Jacobs was getting yards all by himself with not a lot of help. He had a heck of a season. What is Jair Alexander's situation contractually here? He's going to cost money if if they let him go, right?
So what's interesting about him is, unlike most contracts for veteran players, there's no inflection point. There's no guaranteed money. Basically, he holds all the cards. He's not willing to take a pay cut. He doesn't want to be here. The Packers, not very good at keeping the secret. They don't really want him here anymore either. What they want is something in return. They're hoping during the course of these 3 days, someone will say, hey, we need a corner. We'd love to have him. We're willing to pay him. We've got the cap space. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to end up ultimately being released after the draft.
All right, something we'll keep an eye on, what happens with that Jair Alexander situation. Now, you've covered every draft that you've been a reporter, but now you get to do it right here. You're usually here, but the draft wasn't. So you got some tidbits about how the Packers used to staff it with like their equipment guys, right?
Yeah, so it's crazy because everyone's, are you excited that it's in your town? Well, yes and no, because nothing really changes other than me getting to talk to you in this lovely area. Yes. But other than that, with all the trucks going by, other than that, my job's going to be the same tomorrow and Friday and Saturday. The picks all being made by the Packers in there. Maybe I'll come and hang out with you.
You should hang out here with us. Always good to have Jason Wilde with us. It's great to have him part of our team as we cover this NFL draft from Green Bay. Not a long drive from the Madison area. We made it up here in about an hour and a half. Traffic will be a little busier tomorrow. But if you're thinking of maybe making a trip up to Titletown to watch the draft in person, get the NFL Draft Day experience, our Michelle Renee Quinn sought out to find exactly how you might be able to do it.
Anyone in our viewing area will be driving an average distance of 277 miles round trip, using Wisconsin's current average fuel cost of $2.99 and an estimated vehicle efficiency of 25 miles per gallon. That means your spending on fuel will be approximately $35 more or less, depending on your vehicle. Now, pricing information for draft food is not available on the NFL draft site, but let's assume NFL draft prices are similar to Lambeau's usual prices. That would be $14 for a 24-ounce. Now, in my final numbers, I've calculated 2 24-ounce beers for you and 2 for your buddy for each day of the event. Now, let's talk about hotels. Say you drive there Thursday and home Saturday. That's 2 nights in Green Bay. I made several calls this morning, and not surprisingly, hotels within a 5-mile radius are mostly booked up. The closest hotel I could find with availability has only 2 rooms left. That's Country Inn Suites in Ashwaubenon, about 3 miles from downtown. Rooms there run $1,000 a night. You must book a minimum of 3 nights, and for the entire draft week, there are no refunds and no cancellations. So I looked a little further out to have a more affordable option, since you and your buddy are only staying for 2 nights. 25 minutes from Lambeau is the Cobblestone Hotel Suites, Denmark. They still have available rooms for Thursday and Friday night, running $300 a night plus a $100 down payment. So for food, I took the numbers from one of my one-day trip calculations. If you and the buddy eat at a fast food place, a family restaurant, and a steakhouse each night and eat at the free hotel breakfast, I estimate the total food cost to be approximately $300, making a total 3-day, 2-night trip for you and a buddy just over $1,200. And that's without the cost of snacks and experiences inside of the draft. So definitely budget a little over if you plan on spending money at the draft.
A well thought out plan there from Michelle Renee Quinn. And Susan, I know you've got rooms booked up here. You're ready to come up for the draft. You got a cooler full of spotted cow. You're ready to go. I know you love NFL Draft Day every single year. It should be a fun one. And I think by this time tomorrow, we're going to see a whole lot of fans, especially those in green and gold. Although when we checked into our hotel today in Oshkosh, there were a bunch of Raider fans there in the lobby with us. So people come from a long way away to watch the NFL draft.
That was very interesting to break down all the costs. But when it comes to being in Green Bay at draft week, see the Packer picks, that's priceless,
yeah, priceless.
Right? Yep.
They basically said it was going to be like having 3 straight days of Packer games going on. So
yeah.
There's a lot of demand for it, and that brings the price up.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. All right, Eric, we'll check back in just a little bit. Don't go far. Thanks so much.
And if you're opting to stay here in Madison, there is plenty to do outside. We had a little bit of rain, but then some heat, Jacob.
Yeah, overall, though, we are going to have definitely a few days of nice weather, but we also have some alert days in the forecast. Now, looking at the three things you need to know, we are going to see consistent rain return for Friday morning, but dry weather is expected over the weekend, and that alert day is for Monday and Tuesday of next week. Now, we also have a small chance of severe weather later tonight, mostly in the form of some minor hail, but there is a marginal risk for just about everybody, but we don't have an alert day in the forecast for this simply because the severe weather will be very isolated. Now, looking at future track, we are going to see those storms move back into the area closer to sunset and continue into the early overnight hours. Most of the area, most locations should see rainfall, but again, the severe weather very isolated across portions of the viewing area. And as we get towards Thursday morning, a lot of that rain will have cleared up. Still some lingering showers for northern and western counties, but for most of the day on Thursday, we're just expecting some brief light showers. But Thursday night into Friday, we'll see more consistent rain move back into the area. This round of precipitation is not expected to produce any severe weather, but we could see a few isolated thunderstorms, and it's mostly going to occur late Thursday night into early Friday. By the time we get to the late morning and especially by Friday afternoon, we may be completely dry. Now, temperature-wise for your Thursday, we are going to see plenty of cloud cover, but again, we're not going to see a lot of rain, and temperatures will also be very nice, upper 60s to lower 70s. Rain is a little bit more likely as you get closer to Green Bay, so that may impact the draft, but southern Wisconsin expected to be dry for Thursday, but then Thursday night into Friday, like I mentioned, we'll see the rain move back into the area, and Friday will be on the cooler side with highs in the 50s and some breezy weather on top of it, so it may feel a little bit cooler. But after Friday, the weekend is looking very, very nice. We'll see partly sunny skies Saturday and Sunday as well. Maybe a little bit cool at times Saturday, but for the most part, still very nice. Maybe some showers Sunday evening, but we're not expecting much in the form of rain until we get to Monday and Tuesday of next week, where we do have that alert day in the forecast for the potential of strong to severe thunderstorms. We could even see some of that severe weather continue into Wednesday as well. Now, looking at the severe weather outlook, this is for Monday, showing a good chance of that severe weather. And I do want to point out that it is very unlikely for the SPC outlook to produce the chance of severe weather this far out. So that goes to show you how high the confidence is in that severe weather. And I would say don't take this on face value, because areas in the southeastern portion of Wisconsin could definitely see that severe weather. And then for Tuesday, although right now the best chance of severe weather will be south of us, we do expect to see that severe weather here in southern Wisconsin. Again, it's very unlikely to see anything this far out in the severe weather outlook, and the fact that there is a pretty high confidence really goes to show you that it could be a pretty strong day both Monday and Tuesday. Now, once again, here's a look at the draft forecast for Green Bay. Although we're going to see rain, not expecting much severe weather, especially in Green Bay, but we will see that consistent rain Friday with some cooler temperatures and then better conditions on Saturday. So back to Madison, we are going to see the potential alert day for severe weather Monday and Tuesday. After that, though, some small chances of precip, but temperatures are going to continue to be very nice. With that alert day Monday, we could be seeing highs close to 80.
80 degrees, wow, already. Thanks, Jacob. Coming up on Live at 4, the draft isn't the only big event happening in Wisconsin this weekend.
Our Josh Spreiter gives us a preview of the Grilled Cheese Championships when Live at 4 continues.
About football this weekend. In the 608, the Wisconsin Grilled Cheese Championship is back this weekend, and News 3 Now is a proud sponsor.
Josh Spreiter is in Dodgeville with a preview.
Hanging out with my friends in Dodgeville today. I have Jenna and Zach. Jenna, I want to start with you because the Wisconsin Grilled Cheese Championship, this is a big deal in these parts.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. We're very excited about it.
And what is this event all about for folks that maybe don't know anything about it?
Yeah, so it originally started to celebrate the dairy industry and the farmers in Wisconsin, and what better way to do that with grilled cheese?
And we're lucky enough to have one of those contestants here, Zach Washa. Zach, good to see you, buddy.
Great to see you, Josh.
You know, this is 9 years for you?
9 years now, yeah.
And, you know, what got you started 9 years ago?
My wife actually told me about it. She got an email from the Chamber of Commerce, and she's like, you need to make grilled cheese. And I did it.
And, I mean, this is anything but a typical grilled cheese. You go all out for this.
Oh, this is like gourmet, high-end grilled cheese. I mean, I had one with morel mushrooms one year. I mean, you could sell it in a restaurant for $30.
And one that you made for us a little bit ago was one that you just kind of came up with on the fly?
Yeah, just kind of came up with it on the fly, did a pepper jam, Gruyere. I kind of know how flavor profiles work, and I just put it together and made it for you right here for the first time.
And this is really what it's all about, Jenna, is, I mean, you talk about uniqueness right here in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, and some of these contestants come up with some very unique sandwiches, and so it's always exciting to see what their creations are coming up with and to taste them.
So if people are interested, how can they be a part of Saturday's event? Because you guys are hoping for a bunch of people to show up.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful weather, so we're excited about it. But they can go to our website, grilledcheesewisconsin.com, or they can just stop by on the day of the event and purchase their tickets here.
And Zach, are you going to let any of your secrets out for our folks watching at home today?
Ghee. Use ghee instead of regular butter. Ghee is a little bit softer and it's a lot more spreadable.
And that's where you kind of get that crunch from at the end, right?
Yeah, higher heat tolerance in the bread so you can make it a little bit crispier.
All right, and you've got a half a sandwich left. I already ate the other half, by the way, for folks at home. This is what you have to look forward to. Just listen to this. That's good. In Dodgeville, I'm Josh Breiter, News 3 Now.
That sounded good.
Yeah, that was a good
you
one.
were a judge last year.
Yeah, I think I've judged for 2 or 3 years, and then this year a colleague over on the Fox 47 side of things, we're co-emceeing it, so that'll be fun. So hopefully I can still sample some stuff.
How many did you have to try last year?
I don't even remember. They keep bringing them out, and they say cut it into a small square and take teeny tiny bites because you will be miserable if you try to eat your whole sandwich.
I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks like so much.
Yeah.
Now I'm hungry. Now we're hungry.
Yeah. All right. I'll bring you some back.
Oh, do that.
All right. Well, coming up on Live at 4, the Education Department will start collecting student loans in default.
We'll tell you how Wisconsinites say that move could affect them when we come back.
We're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
We'll take you back to Green Bay in just a second, but first we're going to get an update on the weather.
Yeah, quite the day. All that rain earlier today, and then humidity too.
We went from fall to summer. I was in an event downtown in Madison this morning. We got drenched, and now it's sunny and beautiful outside.
Yeah, what a roller coaster. Are we in for more? Here's Jacob Montesano. Jacob?
Yeah, we kind of are in a little bit for more of a roller coaster with plenty of rain in the forecast, but also some very nice weather. Now, I do want to start in Green Bay. Here's a look at the NFL draft forecast. We'll see some light precipitation for Thursday, nothing too heavy. We'll see more consistent rain for Friday, though, and Friday will also be cooler. And then we'll see nice conditions for Saturday. That's going to be a pretty similar forecast for us here in Madison as well. Now, taking a look at southern Wisconsin, current temperatures are in the 70s for a lot of the area. It is very nice out here, and as we take a look at the radar, we aren't seeing any precipitation, at least not yet. We saw that rain earlier. We're going to see more move back into the area a little bit later, probably not until around sunset, if not after sunset. And some of these showers and storms that impact us later in the evening and early tonight could be on the stronger side with some minor hail possible, but we don't have an alert day simply because the severe weather will be pretty isolated, but everyone could definitely see rain at some point. This is going to continue for most of the overnight hours until we get a little bit closer to sunrise. Still could see some rain north of Madison, but then we will be dry for most of the day on Thursday with just a few light showers possible here and there. So looking at the evening forecast, we are going to see the clouds increase throughout the evening. Temperatures will remain comfortable, but rain is expected for the later evening and early overnight hours. And for the overnight hours, we'll see temperatures remain relatively mild as lows will only drop into the 50s. But I'll talk more in detail about more rain chances we're going to see and an alert date that's in the forecast. Of all that coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. It is the eve of the NFL draft, and we're continuing our special coverage of the draft in Green Bay ahead of the first pick.
So much to look forward to. It's been decades since Wisconsin hosted the event, and will be your home for all of the coverage. Our crews are up in Green Bay right now. Eric and Jason and Zach Hanley, thanks for joining us. Let's start with Eric and Jason up there.
Brady, Susan, good afternoon once again on this absolutely gorgeous day in Green Bay. Don't see much weather like this. I know there's maybe some rain coming later. We'll have to prepare for that, but they are really trying to put the finishing touches on what's been a ton of work. This place has been just overhauled. There's tents, there's the draft experience, and they're putting on the final touches now.
It is pretty wild for us to be 26-ish hours away from the first pick and still see all this activity. But it is interesting because I was over here on Monday for Brian Gutekunst's press conference, the Packers general manager, and I took a freight elevator, which I'd never really done before. It was like Die Hard. And I'm coming downstairs with one of the kind of higher ups from the NFL. And I was fascinated by how much seemed to still need to get done. But then he reminded me, all the people that are in charge of this, it's not the Packers, it's not, Joe Average Green Bay guy like me. It's the NFL people that put together Super Bowls and games overseas and all these other drafts that have been in other places. So it may seem like we're going down to the wire, but I'm going to trust that they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. And the whole city really has kind of, really gotten pumped up about this. You can see it everywhere you go.
There is an excitement. Now, I think the most excitement in my house was that the girls got the days off from school for it. But beyond that, I think, again, there's not even as much buzz as you would have expected on Wednesday. I think it's all, everybody's coming in tomorrow, and that's when we'll really feel the draft.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of people in here for that event, and of course, a lot of anticipation building around who the Packers will take tomorrow. And of course, we have our sports team here in Green Bay as well. Zach Hanley and Andrew Banstra got up here a couple hours ago, and they're getting a look ahead to the NFL draft right here in Green Bay. Zach, Andrew?
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. I mean, how cool is this? Green Bay, Wisconsin, the site of the 2025 NFL Draft. And tomorrow is when the festivities begin. They're practicing the national anthem right now, but that is the draft stage where they're going to hear their names called. You can't really see much because the fence is in the way and there's that tarp, but tomorrow, that's when all the action happens. But I really want to show you something that's been around since 1984. It's the original painted fence. This year's slogan, Draft Dreams on Murph's Turf. And the cool thing about this is that every year the community gets to paint the fence. Well, this year, Packers President Mark Murphy actually helped paint the fence. So that's a tradition that's been around. Basically, I was talking to the owner of the house, and he says, whoever lives here, you got to keep up the tradition, and you're in charge with picking the slogan. So, of course, the NFL Draft is here, so they had to tie in that with Mark Murphy, the president. Earlier today, though, we caught up with some draft hopefuls giving back to the community, and you'll hear from them at 5. For now, live in Green Bay, Zach Hanley, News 3 Sports.
All right. Thank you, Zach. Thanks, Eric and Jason. Well, the U.S. Department of Education will begin collecting defaulted student loan debt on May 5th. This comes a year after the 5-year grace period for borrowers, but now our Maddie Heimsch reports the pause has run its course.
More than 700,000 Wisconsinites have student loan debt in their name.
I still owe a few $1,000s.
The interest is not exactly low.
I've taken out a variety of federal and private loans.
And since March of 2020, when the U.S. Department of Education paused involuntary collections, those borrowers have been afforded leniency when it comes to making good on their payments. But if you haven't been keeping up with that debt, Carol Trone with the Wisconsin Coalition on Student Debt says it's time to start.
It could be that you have avoided your student loans because they seem complicated and you don't know how to deal with them. But that is where you may run into the greatest risk of non-payment and then default. And then you're really starting to have some additional challenges.
Those additional challenges could include a hit to your credit score and barriers to potential future loans for a car, a mortgage, or additional schooling. Reporting in Madison, Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Maddie. And if you don't know where to start when it comes to paying off your student loans, you can contact the Coalition by emailing studentloanquestions@debtsmart.org.
President Donald Trump says high tariffs on Chinese goods will come down substantially. It marks a major shift in tone for the president, who had subject most goods from the country to a 145% tariff. The president now says he is speaking with China to get a fair deal after conversations with the heads of major retailers about the impact this could have on sales. The stock market responded positively to the news. The Dow jumping 420 points. The Nasdaq is up 408, and the S&P 500 is up 88.
Well, nearly a week ago, Sun Prairie selected its next police chief. Kevin Warwick will lead the police department.
Our Tanisha Shaw spoke with the new chief on what he has planned for Sun Prairie.
The large goal is really just to gain the trust internally and externally.
Kevin Warwick is excited to call Sun Prairie his new home.
I enjoy the family life. I value, the Midwest values. People talk about Midwest nice. That defines me as a person.
After a large turnout at a public forum in March, Sun Prairie's police department chose Warwick to lead the agency as chief.
It's never been about me. It's about everybody. They'll see that quickly about me, whether it's the Hispanic community, the Black community, Somali, you name it. It's important for people to see that my heart is on my sleeve, and that's where it's always going to be. And that's how we're going to lead and work together in the community.
He's excited to embrace the growing city's diversity.
You want the city to grow. That's how cities sustain. The more people that come, the more future leaders that they're going to be in the city in 20, 30 years from now. The police department is going to work closely with the parks department, economic development, the fire department. This is a team effort. And that's really what drew me to the city of Sun Prairie. Everybody's been so welcoming. Everybody's been working and has this collaborative effort.
And maintain staff retention.
We're going to train people, good enough for them to leave, but treat them good enough for them that they don't want.
Reporting in Sun Prairie, Tanasia Shaw, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Tanasia. Warwick will be sworn in on May 12th, and we will have more with the new police chief tonight at 6.
Coming up on Live at 4, the budget breakdown.
How much money the governor has proposed for Wisconsin's Department of Corrections when we're back. Everyone, we are more than halfway through the budget process, and we are continuing to take a look at how the government's proposing to spend your tax dollars.
Today, we're focusing on the 6th largest agency budget, the Department of Corrections and Wisconsin's prisons.
And joining us now to break it all down, we have our political analyst, Brandon Scholes. Thanks for being back.
Nice to see you on this beautiful day.
Yeah, well, we have a lot to talk about. So there is some controversy within this part of the budget. Why is that?
Well, we're going to get to what's in the Department of Corrections budget, and they are unique in terms of their facilities. But before we get there, let's set the stage. We have a $119 billion budget, which is $21 billion more than what we have so far. That's what the governor proposed for 55 agencies. The Department of Corrections is the 6th largest of all the 119 agencies. So if you remember, the Department of Health Services has $42 billion, transportation has $8 billion, the university has $16 billion. Shared revenue is $9 billion. Department of Public Instruction is $20 billion. So you get down to there, and here we come at $4 billion for the Department of Corrections. So we take a look at this graphic just to show you what they're putting up for this year. This budget so far that the governor's proposed is $250 million more than what's currently in place. So what's proposed for next year is about $2 billion. For the next year, another $2 billion. Again, more than what we have, but it's going to account for some. So as you look at that budget, you got to kind of figure out what it's going to go for. The Department of Corrections has 10,000 employees. That's a big chunk of it, and it's almost a third of all the state employees that we have. So this is not a small operation. They operate more than 20 prisons in Wisconsin, and that includes 14 prisons above the 20, which is part of their correctional system. So this is a big thing. This is not small potatoes. But we want to talk about kind of what's the story inside the budget, because you could talk about all the different things, but what's the story inside the budget is the prisons. And a lot of people don't understand what goes in our prison structure. Like I said, they operate 20 prisons in Wisconsin, and there's about 23,000 people that are incarcerated in these prisons. Let me see the second thing that we want to show, the kind of the prisons that everybody kind of talks about.
Is this Lincoln Hills and Copper Lakes?
But let's start with the big one. The big one is up in Green Bay, and if you see the Green Bay, if you were to see the Green Bay Correctional Institute, that building was built in like 1898 in the Spanish War, and it's old, it's falling apart. That you can't renovate it. It's cramped, it's small. They have more prisoners than they can possibly have. And the people in Green Bay would like to see that building knocked down. And it's on the river. Who builds a prison on the river these days? I mean, that's big development stuff.
Yeah.
The problem is that the governor has said that to replace that prison would take about $1 billion. That's knocking it down, moving the dirt, building it somewhere else that you go to. It's prohibitive. I mean, it's just almost hard to do. In fact, if you remember years and years and years ago when Tommy Thompson built the Supermax prison, how controversial that was.
Right.
Can you imagine $1 billion prison just to replace Green Bay? But then you go to the second one, which is Waupun. That too is an old building. The governor's proposed roughly $500 million to do Green Bay and Waupun. But the trick there is that $500 million is not in this 2,000-page budget that we showed. It's in the state capital budget. So there's another pot of money over there that you have to go to. The Policy Institute said that if the governor proposed that, they would go for Green Bay and Waupun, but that's not the end of the story, because the other prisons that we're talking about, and they're more correctional facilities. This is Lincoln Hills and Copper Lake, which we've heard about over the years up at Irma.
And they've had a lot of problems.
They've had a lot of problems. Lincoln Hills is for the juvenile boys. Copper Lake is for the juvenile girls. What the governor's proposing is $137 million that would be used to renovate those facilities, but maybe move them into more of a minimum or a medium security prison, which means that you would then have to move these males and females to different facilities. And again, that's a minimum type of security. So you have a lot of decisions of where you're going to move people. And remember, if we're at 23,000 people incarcerated and it's overcrowded already, we don't have a lot of places to go. So I think, one of the policy things that they're going to have to think about is, how do we deal with this? Can we build more prisons? Well, if you had the money, you probably could. It's going to take a long time, so you're not going to solve that overcrowding problem. So do you do things like electronic monitoring? Do you do like changing sentencing? Do you do with, how do you deal with prisoners? All those sorts of different things, and that clashes just as hard with the idea of building more prisons. So it's yet to be seen what's going to happen with the corrections budget. It too, like all the other ones that we've talked about, whether or not that makes it through the process. But we've seen these fights before. Prisons are expensive, and for the communities that have them, they're a boon to their economy. I mean, they create jobs. They do a lot for it. So we're going to see where this fight goes and whether or not they're going to do it, whether they're just going to maybe pick one. But, I think the one that everybody talks about is Green Bay, just because if you go look at that building, it's a relic. I mean, it's the Spanish War relic. So people in Green Bay want to see it go. We'll see what happens in the budget.
Thank you for being on with us.
You bet.
We'll continue to follow it. Thank you, Brandon.
We'll be right back. First warn forecast, Jacob.
Thanks, Brady. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to see consistent rain return for early Friday, but then it's going to be dry over the weekend with an alert day by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday for the potential of severe weather. Now, looking at tonight's severe weather outlook, we don't have an alert day in the forecast, but we are expecting at least some minor severe weather with the marginal risk for just about the entire region. Now, looking at the forecast, that rain will move back into the area a little bit closer to sunset and the hours just after sunset. Some of these isolated storms could be on the stronger side, but the severe weather will be very isolated. But everyone should see rain at some point tonight. And as we get closer to sunrise Thursday, that's when the rain will start to clear out of the region. Areas off to the north may still see some showers and storms a little bit longer. And once we get towards the afternoon Thursday, a lot of the region is expected to be dry. But because we're going to see consistent cloud cover, we can't rule out some light sprinkles. Now, once we get to Thursday night, we are going to see the rain return on a consistent basis, and that's going to continue through Friday morning. This round of precipitation, mostly in the form of showers, maybe some storms, but no severe weather. That will clear out by Friday afternoon. Now, for Thursday, it's going to be very nice. Highs in the upper 60s, lower 70s, despite the cloud cover. Cooler temperatures for Friday. Highs will be in the middle 50s, but then it's going to be very nice for the weekend. And as we go into next week, despite the alert day Monday and Tuesday, temperatures are going to be very mild. In fact, those warmer temperatures may fuel some of those stronger storms. So definitely stay updated to our latest forecast for that time frame, because it could be a pretty busy day severe weather wise. And then after the severe weather possible, we are going to see calmer conditions to end next week.
Live to Rome, where over the next few days, thousands of people will visit St. Peter's Basilica to pay their respects to Pope Francis.
And there are a lot of people there right now at St. Peter's Square, and they are 7 hours ahead of us. The Pope will lie in state in front of the main tomb of St. Peter, the first Pope, until Saturday when his funeral will be held. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow on Live at 4, the countdown continues ahead of the first pick at the NFL Draft for the Green Bay Packers. And later on News 3 Now at 5, how many years it's been since UW Health's first med flight. That's straight ahead at 5. Thanks for watching Live at 4 today, everybody. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.